Welcome on in, guys. Tobin here with you. Thanks for checking out the channel. Hope you guys can subscribe here and appreciate you guys tuning on in. Also got the Tobin and Leroy show weekdays 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. You'll see how we can make him angry today. I told him today, I don't know if anybody has seen this, but for those who aren't watchers or listeners of the show, you got to go check out these Trae Young workout videos. They're hilarious. Like, I don't even know if he's doing this as like a troll to like make fun of workout videos, but Trae Young, I don't know what to make of this. But just go watch them yourself and let me know what you think. Because obviously I've been leading in some ways the hashtag Trae05 movement. But yeah, I don't know if it's going to happen. Probably not. Nothing's going to happen. Ingram, not going to happen. Larry Marketing, not going to happen. Leroy and I got into an Ingram Trae Young debate today. Pointless. None of them are coming here, right? We got Haywood Highsmith, found out, can't even sign a 15th guy till the middle of the season for the Miami Heat. So what are we going to do, huh? It is what it is. But one guy who is back, who spoke to the media this weekend, Kevin Love. Kevin Love spoke to the media this weekend, and got a couple questions in with Love. Very thoughtful guy. Let me just say this with Kevin Love. Gives you a bunch and gives you a lot of interesting thoughts. This is a man who has got a lot of experience under his belt. But I want to, Kevin Love also, I feel honest. He's been through the heights. He's been through the lows. He has been a star of a team. He has been a role. He has been like the third wheel on a championship team. He has been on a team that has obliterated and tanked their team because LeBron James left. He's been through it all. And, when it was really the only battler for Tyler Hero for Sixth Man of the Year, when Tyler had one of the most dominant Sixth Man of the Year campaigns there ever was. But, so Kevin Love's an interesting guy to get thoughts on. And I wanted to get his thoughts. This is some in the realm of what I was asking Pat Riley that led to the shut your mouth comment to Jimmy Butler, which, I wasn't thrilled with. That was the way that direction went. I am thrilled to see, though, it looks like Jimmy Butler back in the lab. He has been kind of quiet on social media, but if you've been looking at his Instagram, Jimmy Butler throwing up some weights, looks like he is tuning himself up for the season. So that was great to see. But anyway, getting back to Love. He signs a 2-year deal to come back to the Miami Heat, which I'm excited about. I like Kevin Love. Definitely appreciate him more. Like, here's the thing. With Kyle Lowry, right? I wasn't the biggest Kyle Lowry fan in the world. And I can't say even watching him with the Heat, like, I can appreciate the things that he does competitively, but I can still say I'm not the biggest fan of watching him play basketball. It's just not the most pleasing thing in the world. Great mind for the game, savant, champion, competitor. Just not the biggest fan of watching it. Kevin Love, opposite. I would say, there was that Miami-Cleveland rift, which blinded me in some ways. But I can tell you, watching Kevin Love play basketball, he's a lot of fun. I mean, first of all, rebounds like a damn moose and then fires that ball like a damn cannon. We don't have to, ogle over the outlet pass again. They were doing it on the Summer League broadcast even yesterday. But there's an appreciation I have for Kevin Love that I just did not when he was not on the Miami Heat. And I genuinely enjoy watching it because he can give you like the most impressive 15 minutes there is. It's a little bit like watching Birdman Anderson without the cool tats and hair. But Birdman wasn't a shooter. It was basically just crazy energy, dunk on your ass, full throttle for 12 minutes. Here's what you got. Whereas Kevin Love can obviously shoot it every once in a while. But it is going to be interesting to see what his role is on this team, right? Like, how much is he going to play? What is that role? His per 36 numbers were really, really good last year. But there are some defensive questions. It wasn't really playable in the Celtics series, so there are some matchup nightmares for him. That happened a little bit against the Nuggets as well. But there is I'll use the word intangibles factor with him. One of them is locker room leadership. The guy is really beloved by his teammates. And I think that's everybody from the top of the pyramid all the way, down to the undrafted guys. I think there's just an appreciation there for him. And, a guy who can have that connective tissue for the rookies and Jaime Jaquez to Jimmy Butler. Like, he can really go to everybody. He's got that kind of credibility in the locker room. And with not having Udonis Haslem in the locker room, I think it's an important thing for the Heat to have. And I do think that Spo can definitely, he loves having those championship tested veterans around the team. But getting back to Kevin Love and the media session. So Kevin Love, basically my question was, after reflecting on the summer that was and you guys losing, what do you guys think it's going to take to get back to the level of the Celtics? Do you think it's just injuries, or do you think that, some other things break your way? Where do you think that's at? And so this was Kevin Love, where he thinks the Heat stand as far as getting back to the level of top of the East.
Yeah, I think it's, obviously we have the culture, but like I said, culture, luck, demographic, timing. I mean, I think the luck component of it would obviously be our injuries, and especially our injury history over just the course of this last year and the timing of it all. And I think, you saw a lot of players go down throughout the championship run that Boston had, but that's not to take anything away from them, because they have set the standard in the NBA. They are that good. So I think they are the proverbial North Star, if you will. And in order to get better, we all need to get better. So I don't know what that means from a decision-making standpoint in the front office, obviously, but I think health played a major component. We don't like to make those excuses. I know Spo would not be happy with me even speaking about it, but I do feel that it is a part of it, that you fight the battle of attrition. You hope that, the injuries are mild throughout the year, and the wear and tear is as low as it can be on guys' bodies, or as minimal, I should say, on guys' bodies throughout the year. But that was certainly something that was on the top of my mind, a limiting factor for us. But we, overall just need to get better. We need to be a more cohesive unit, to focus on, the regular season and getting the best out of each other during that time. And I think that's something that the mindset starts now.
So, all right, there's more to this that we'll get to, because he's going to go off and we're going to talk about one of the factors that he thinks is going to be the most important for the Miami Heat. And I do think that Heat fans, or any NBA fans, injuries, what do we have, injuries? First of all, nobody bitches more about any of their health issues more than the rest of these teams in the East. The Bucks get to talk about it. The Sixers get to talk about it. The Knicks get to talk about it. The Heat don't get to talk about it. Everybody else gets to talk about the injuries. That's not to say that the Heat fan can't be frustrated with the roster, because I think there are factors on this roster to be frustrated by that aren't injury related. So if we could be grown-ups and talk about this for a second, listen to what Kevin Love is saying. He does think that everybody has to be better, and they need to be more cohesive, and they have to take the regular season more seriously, which I do think is not necessarily a shot at Jimmy Butler, but I think it's already known where it's like, all right, well, who's the person? Him, Jimmy. Jimmy's the guy that needs to. From an injury standpoint, yeah, a lot of weird stuff did break for the Heat last year, including for Kevin Love, where he had like a heel injury that like took him out. Duncan Robinson with a back injury that took him out. Terry Rozier with a neck injury. We hope that he's okay. Tyler Hero with the ankle. There's a lot of those factors. Jaime Jaquez, as durable as they came last year, and even he had to deal with a groin injury, and then of course suffered an injury in the Celtics series. Not saying it would have been the difference. Neither is Kevin Love, but it's tough not to think about that war of attrition that is, and wonder those things. When I asked Pat Riley about this at the 2020 finals, he's like, you can't do it. You can't do it. You don't want to do it because you don't want to sound like a sore loser. But it is impossible, I feel like, as competitors, for them not to think about the what if and what they need to do to get better, to get in this position. The Heat, from the way last year went, even with everybody being healthy, could they get into a series with Boston and win? Hell, they got a lot of things they got to figure out to get there. Do they have the means from just in house development to do that, I think there are some things that you could look at and be excited about and think, maybe there'll be some things that can make this a better season and, can get this place turned on the right time. But you're just going to have to see that. I'll tell you one way they have to do it, though, is they have to not, dick around in the regular season, and they do have to, take it seriously so they can be all, like Kevin said, become more cohesive and bring that into a playoff roster. And hopefully that means, people keep looking at this team and they say, it's an 8 seed on paper. All this, are they a legitimate contender in the East? I think the East outside of Boston is pretty, I think you penciling in Boston to the Eastern Conference Finals is not unfair to do. The rest of the East, they have arguments, but they also have flaws. It's almost like in an NFL QB. It's like every quarterback outside of Patrick Mahomes is going to have a flaw that you got to look at and be like, but also you could talk your way in if things break the right way, maybe. But certainly it can't all just be, hey, I'm not saying it was all injuries. But it is funny how like every other team, if you were to look at the Knicks, if you were looking at the Bucks, the Sixers, even the Pacers, every one of those teams that got to go up against Boston, they all did have, every one of them is talking about the what if with the injuries. The Heat fan just doesn't, because you went far the year beforehand, you fell off like the face of the earth, and everybody else is looking at, look how far we got. It was impressive. And the Heat are looking at, what a catastrophe. That's the difference in standards of franchises. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that, but it is an interesting difference of perspective on this stuff. But Kevin Love also pointed out that the thing that he is most excited about with this team, he believes, is Bam. And that Bam and them adding some size and getting Bam to open up his versatility a little bit more. This is going to be an interesting thing to watch this year because it has been mentioned. It has been mentioned by Bam. It has been mentioned by his teammates. It has been mentioned by the coaches. It has been mentioned by the front office. So what is this going to mean? A more versatile, opened up Bam Adebayo. Here was Kevin Love.
What I'm excited about too is I've had many conversations with Bam. Obviously, I spoke to him after he signed his contract, and after it was announced, obviously not in that order, but I'm excited, really excited for him because you always see guys coming off of USA basketball, having played with the best players and against the best competition in the world, and they have career years. And I think in the evolution of Bam's game and being able to expand his game, and now, maybe stepping in and playing a little bit more minutes at the 4. Obviously, we've added depth at the 5 and added depth with some size, and Nico being able to play the 4 and play the point forward. I think it's going to allow for him to. I don't want to speak out of turn here, but log maybe a few less minutes, or be able to get the best out of maybe 35 minutes instead of 40. Or 41 or 42, so that when it comes playoff time, when we need to be at our absolute best and fresh, he can play those heavy extended minutes and be Bam and have a career year like that. And we fully expect that out of him because he chases the game, better than anyone that, I've, or right up there with anybody that I've seen. So it's aspirational in that way. And he's the guy that's going to lead us.
There does have to be a level from the Miami Heat that does have to look at their 2 top dogs and see them get better. Because everybody kind of looks at it and says, you need to leave from Hyman, you need to leave from Jovic. And I think those things are just going to naturally happen. These are young guys. I think those things are going to be quite obvious to everybody. It is a question, though, of like you look at the other teams and say, like, hey, can our stars give us something more? And this thing with Bam is going to be an interesting one because we did see something different from Bam last year as far as him adding the 3-point attempts to his game in the middle of the season. Do we see a guy with more comfort level to do that even more, especially a guy who does get to rove, maybe not bang bodies as much as usual, especially in the regular season. And, maybe the Heat not having to take each game to be a rock fight to go win. And I think that is certainly going to be an interesting thing to check out because they have been just an awful offensive team to watch. And even the year that they went to the finals where they were a play-in team, so many of those games were coin tosses. So it is going to be looked upon a little bit of, hey, if these Heat teams if they get their 15-point leads, can they keep them? Can they withstand? Can they not let up? If Bam sits down, can we not have everything catastrophically fall like a house of cards? And then seeing what that progression is for Bam, because he is right. Like, look, the last game and time that Bam went to Team USA for the 2020 Olympics, which actually were in 2021 because of the pandemic, he had a great season. Now, it was shortened a little bit by that freak thumb injury that happened, but I think, Bam showed a lot of growth in that game and continue to do so. And I think that I would expect to see that again. I think and I think it's fair for Bam. I think it's fair for the expectations to be ratcheted up when you sign that kind of an extension, because he's the guy everybody is going to look to as committed to. Jimmy's going to be sitting here and contract year Jimmy and trying to justify getting whatever deal lies ahead of him after the season. But the franchise has already shown the faith in Bam. And so I have no doubt that his hard work is going to be poured all the way into this, but that is going to need to bear fruit. That is going to need to bear results for this team, and see where they go in the future. But I appreciated the insight there from Love, and giving you some perspective thoughts going into this season that has been howled with a lot of negativity. A lot of it deserved. But also, there are, I think, things that I am excited about, even without any Orca moves being. I do think there are things on the roster that I am excited about to see with Miami. So we just got to see if they pan out.